News right now, Donald Trump's tariffs on China are impacting farmers the most, and many of them have buyer's remorse for even voting for Donald Trump in the first place. One of the top products that is tariffed is the U.S. soybean, and U.S. soybean exports, according to CNN, are now subject to a total tariff of 135% because of the 10% tariff imposed in March, along with the 125% tariff announced last week. If you recall, back in 2018, the winner of the first U.S.-China trade war wasn't U.S. farmers, but rather Brazil, because Brazil became the world's leading soybean exporter. And since then, exports to China have grown 280%, while U.S. exports have remained flat. Many soybean farmers in the Midwest actually voted for Donald Trump. They come from states that are red states that voted for Donald Trump consistently, both in 2016 and in 2024. And Trump had long promised exemptions or support for farmers, but they haven't received any bailouts just yet. And some are now even having buyer's remorse because their businesses are going to suffer because they can't export the number of soybeans that they were before.
Want to work, sell our crop, and have a decent life like everybody else. But if they would just leave it alone.
This trade war is going to impact literally every corner of the country. Some of those who are most uncertain about what this is going to mean is those in agriculture and farming. Like here, corn and soybean farmers and pork producers. Where does this trade war end?
I don't know where it ends. I hope it ends soon.
What is your message to the Trump administration?
Just stay out of it. I mean, if they would just leave it alone and let the free market do its job, everything would be okay.
This is going to be so far-reaching, not just because of the Trump administration's tariffs of goods imported into the United States, but it's about the question marks in the days ahead about the retaliatory tariffs that the likes of China, Canada, potentially Mexico, and Europe are going to place on U.S. goods that are either produced, like corn and soybeans, or manufactured and sent overseas.
Well, my friends, our farmers are in full-blown crisis, and it's not because of Mother Nature. It's because of Donald Trump's reckless tariffs that have torched decades of trade relationships and handed America's agriculture future to China and Brazil on a silver platter. 12,000 tons of pork canceled. Soybean exports collapsed, and family farms are now shutting down, and it doesn't stop there. Longshoremen, truckers, warehouse workers, entire communities are being gutted. This didn't have to happen, but Trump wanted a trade war. He wanted headlines, and now our farmers are paying the price, while China laughs its way to the Brazilian soybean fields. And to make it worse, farmers who sign contracts with their own government, they're being stiffed, left holding the bag. So let me be clear. I will fight like hell to rebuild our rural economy, restore fair trade, and make sure American farmers never again become pawns in a MAGA publicity stunt. This district deserves better. America deserves better. Are you ready to fight back? My name is Doug Hunan. I'm a Democrat, congressional candidate in California's 3rd District. Please share this video, follow me, and donate to
Thought I was going to lose this much money this fast.
Jim is a Republican who voted for Donald Trump 3 times. How do you feel about your vote for Donald Trump now?
Well, I feel like perhaps I should have considered some other options.
The past 2 years, Jim has been selling honey to the federal government, which then provides it to schools and food banks. But after Donald Trump took office, the USDA cut those programs suddenly as part of the federal government's effort to streamline spending.
For a lot of other local farmers around here, it was a major source of reliable revenue. For me, it was going to cost me around $150,000 a year.
$150,000?
Yeah, roughly 50% of my revenue.
That's a huge hit.
That's a massive hit.
Donald Trump's tariffs on China are impacting farmers the most, and many of them have buyer's remorse for even voting for Donald Trump in the first place. One of the top products that is tariffed is the U.S. soybean, and U.S. soybean exports, according to CNN, are now subject to a total tariff of 135% because of the 10% tariff imposed in March, along with the 125% tariff announced last week. If you recall, back in 2018, the winner of the first U.S.-China trade war wasn't U.S. farmers, but rather Brazil, because Brazil became the world's leading soybean exporter. And since then, exports to China have grown 280%, while U.S. exports have remained flat. Many soybean farmers in the Midwest actually voted for Donald Trump. They come from states that are red states that voted for Donald Trump consistently, both in 2016 and in 2024. And Trump had long promised exemptions or support for farmers, but they haven't received any bailouts just yet. And some are now even having buyer's remorse because their businesses are going to suffer because they can't export the number of soybeans that they were before. As always, I'll do a full breakdown on my Substack, link to my bio, so subscribe for free and follow along for all the news you need to know.
It's Joe from Georgia. So voting has consequences, and those voters in the states of Kentucky and West Virginia are finding out that their vote, which, by the way, was overwhelmingly for Donald Trump in 2024, is coming back to haunt them. And the haunting is in the coal industry. The coal industry's had a tough time for decades. However, they had seen a new revival in that because they had a huge buyer in the world. Guess who? China. China is the biggest consumer of coal in the world, and they were buying it from companies out of West Virginia and Kentucky, where thousands of people are employed in the coal industry to make their living. Well, those people have been voting staunchly Republican for years. Well, in this instant, they are finally finding out that maybe they made a mistake. And not maybe, because the coal industry, once again, the largest consumer in the world of coal is China. The tariffs have made it to where China will not buy American coal. And without buying American coal, you're putting tens of thousands of people out of work in Kentucky and West Virginia. So once again, voting has consequences, and you're finding out in Kentucky and West Virginia. Good luck.
FAFO season continuing. Like they say, voting has consequences. Elections has consequences. How you vote for somebody, it has consequences. And these are the consequences that people are literally feeling it right now. Unfortunately, it's painful. Unfortunately, so many people are suffering right now. I know there are some people who are literally losing their mortgages. I know there are some people who have literally lost their jobs. I know there are some people right now, they are suffering. They are having a difficult time paying their bills. They're living paycheck to paycheck. Others even have become homeless as a result of these new administration policies. And these are the consequences. FAFO season continues. It's not just about a hashtag. This is the reality of how most American people right now, they are currently living. So many videos are being done on social media where people are literally crying and they're saying, oh my God, I'm losing my insurance. I don't know how I'm gonna survive. Other people have lost their jobs. Other people right now, they're saying they're struggling even to pay their bills. And others even they're saying they're farmers, they are like having difficulty, just to manage their farms because there are no workers anymore. And all these are the consequences of how people voted during the general election. Yes, voting has consequences. It's not about watching TV and say, oh, I'm gonna vote the left or the right side. No, it's about choosing somebody who has your best interest at heart. And these are the results. Some people right now, they're regretting and they're wishing they can turn back the clock. There's some people right now who are like, you know what, I don't care. But at the end of the day, the reality is people are suffering right now. So what are people supposed to do? Do better. Come up with your own research. Come up with the right, correct information so that when the next elections come in, you vote for the right person who has your best interest at heart. This is a learning for everybody who is suffering right now. This is like they had, what they say, these are the consequences. Sometimes it's painful, but you have to swallow the pill. Yeah, this is it. I don't know about what you think, but at the end of the day, this is the pill that people are swallowing. It's bitter, yes. The consequences painful to swallow, yes. But at the end of the day, this is like a learning lesson. So you do your part right now. Do your research. Learn from this. And then come the next election, do better. Choose wisely. Choose for somebody who has your best interest at heart. Okay? Don't just listen the media. Don't just listen the newspaper. Don't just listen, your next door neighbor, what is he or she saying. When it comes to voting, you need to do your part. You need to do your due diligence. You need to do your research. You need to choose for somebody who has your best interest at heart. It's not about saying, oh, I'm voting for this person because he said, you know, I'm gonna do mass deportation of undocumented immigrants, so it won't affect me. And now you're going on social media crying and say, oh, this new policy has affected me. It shows you are biased. It shows that you thought it's okay for someone else to be affected but not you. It doesn't work that way. Do your research. Know who you're voting for. Know your P's and Q's. Choose for somebody who has your best interest at heart. That's what you need to do, because right now, to be honest, Americans are suffering. Right now, so many people are literally wishing they can turn back the clock, but unfortunately, time has passed. You have chosen the president. You have to wait for the next 5 years down the line, and then you vote for the next president of America. But for now, you have to swallow that pill. It's bitter, yes, but at the end of the day, this is the reality. Like they say, FAFO season continue. Voting has consequences, and yes, this is the reality, and it's affecting so many people's lives in America. What do you think about this video? Let me know.